That was funny for 2 weeks, and then it just stopped.
This is Don't Panic, episode number 227, recorded December 17th, 2018. Time and space. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and you. I am Sean Jennings, joined by, can you believe it, 2 hosts this time. It's been a while.
Wow.
Colby Rabidou, and he is back. Dan Miller, gentlemen. Happy December.
Thank you. Same to you.
Oh, lovely,
Happy
wonderful
December.
time of year. Dan, thrilled to have you back.
Thanks. I've missed you all. It's been far too long.
Any fun thing before we get into this evening's events? Any fun things you'd like to share from your wild trips?
I
wherever you've
saw the new Amazon Go store from the outside as I drove past.
been? Okay. Did it
In Seattle.
accidentally charge you for something as you drove by?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, that means it's working.
That means it's working. I was at a 8,000 person convention all about one piece of software that specifically helps you run software on other computers.
Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine Microsoft Excel, but each cell is a computer, and you're starting to get the idea.
That's not how Excel works.
It could work for all you know, right? Maybe it's running Kubernetes under the hood.
That is
Could be.
very exciting.
Well,
I mean, it's a good size
it wasn't,
conference.
It wasn't. It was certainly a good size. It's the biggest conference I've been to, but there are bigger.
Was it bigger than the Web 2.0 conference? I remember that being pretty big.
That's a good point. I don't know. That's a good question.
Also, follow-up question.
Uh-oh.
Happen anymore? Do they upgrade it? Is it the Web 3.0 conference?
No, it's not happening anymore. We looked this up. It is dead.
Ugh.
We may have even gone to the last one.
You sent
Wow.
it out in style.
Yeah. And we're like, well, they showed up, so nothing left to see here.
Well,
These tools are here. It must be over.
wrong kind of tools. No, Dan, glad to have you back. So people are aware, this is our last episode of 2018. Another year, guys, have come and gone.
Whew.
Can you believe?
Boy,
did you think
did.
we'd survive it?
It was looking iffy at parts of the year, but here we are.
Yeah, we made it through.
I was looking through the old spreadsheets for the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, and I was like, wait, that happened this year? Like all this stuff from back in... Remember when Hawaii accidentally put out an alert that they were being
I was
nuclear
just
bombed?
talking about this with someone, yeah.
That seems so long ago.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, wait, I started listening to Roderick on the Line in 2017?
It's pretty crazy. I
Yep.
guess I must have too. It feels like it's been so long. An eternity, really.
This year has definitely been that. No doubt about it.
Oh, sorry. I meant listening to Roderick on the
That too.
Yeah, so we're going to cover our favorite stories and stuff?
Yeah, so it's our sort of it's our annual tradition where for the last episode of the year, we do kind of a recap. Usually this time of year is slow with tech news. So rather than talk about that, we do a sort of recap / predictions episode where we talk about what we think was the biggest story of 2018. We do our pick of the year, and then we do a prediction for 2019 and what we think we're going to see next year, which is always fun. I think, I don't know, maybe people don't like it. I will say, if you're watching us live right now at twitch.tv/don'tpanicshow or on Facebook at facebook.com/don'tpanicshow, thank you. We do the show Monday nights live about 10:15 Eastern on those sites. Please post or comment if you're watching live. If you have thoughts on our picks or our top stories, or you have a pick or a top story of the year you want to share, let me know, and we'll get the word out about those. But guys, why don't we go ahead and jump in to a spreadsheet that is slowly being filled in.
You know what? This is quick aside. Someone needs to make this. I need some sort of device or little software gadget.
Say more.
That,
A gadget.
Yes, a gadget.
Is that like a small gadget?
Yes,
Okay.
it's very small. It doesn't need to be big. But what it does is it mutes Skype as soon as I start typing because I keep forgetting, and it unmutes it after some interval after I stop. Maybe I should make this.
That's
Never
a good
mind.
idea.
I take it back. It's my idea.
Well, it should just mute you. You should just make it so it mutes when you. Well, yeah. No, that's a good idea.
I'm gonna look up software mute button on Google very loudly.
Oh, I was about to say you're typing so loud. Oh no, we need it more than ever. You know they have the famous sneeze button. We need the keyboard to be a type button.
Now, is there a difference between a sneeze button and a cough button?
I think
We're
they're
asking a
interchange-
lot of getting into the details
This is
here.
very
in this
tech.
episode.
Well, you know we're professional audio engineers. We're professional podcasters. You know.
If you had two separate buttons, you could like log that data in your personal health tracking app. And track how many times you were coughing versus sneezing over the course of the year.
I'd love a big console of buttons, each one for a different reason. You might like car drives by, dog barks.
Police siren.
Yeah, that would be some good data. Data?
Amazing.
Data? Did we ever get to the bottom of that?
Data? I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like if we had to pick this episode, that would be my pick of the year.
Data or data?
No. I'm changing subject.
Okay, moving on. Yes, I'm sorry, you lost me.
If I could pick this episode, that would probably be my pick of the year. But it feels unfair,
Okay.
so I won't do that.
Okay.
Plus, it means I have a pick for 2019.
Yeah, already your first pick for 2019. Let's go ahead and jump into the top stories of the year. We've got some here in the rundown.
we have some here.
They're coming. They're on their way, out for delivery. I'll jump in and go first, I guess, because I can. I think when I was thinking about what 2018 was like, I kind of struggled to think of like one big thing. I feel like it was a lot of the same things as last year. But one thing that did stand out to me was me dubbing 2018 the year of the subscription. I think this was the year where we finally, in tech as a whole, started to move away from one-time purchases and subscriptions, which I think has been a long time in the making. But we covered a story on the show earlier in the year about Apple pushing developers, encouraging them to get in-app subscriptions instead of in-app purchases. We've obviously talked about all of the various streaming services, not just the ones this year, but the ones to come next year, like Disney's and Warner Media's with AT&T and HBO and all that, coming next year. Obviously, all the ones we already have. I feel like I pay more in subscription. I just got a renewal notice for my Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. I feel like I subscribe to so much stuff. I put 2 different smart cameras on my home, both of which require separate subscriptions. It's everything in my life requires some sort of monthly or annual subscription. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I suppose it depends if you continue to acquire new subscriptions.
I suppose that's true.
You need a graph of this too, Sean. You need to like how many subscriptions do I have? How many subscriptions am I gaining? At what rate am I gaining subscriptions?
There was a point, I called 2018 the year of the subscription, but I think maybe 2 years ago, I did have to do an inventory of things I had subscribed to, and like free trials that automatically bill type stuff. And it was, I'm embarrassed to admit how many of those had gone like 4 months of auto billing my account before I noticed that a little $5, $3, $2 charge. It's like, oh, I'm not really paying too much attention, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, I've been paying for this for 6 months? What?
Yeah.
Very sneaky.
I don't judge people for that because I was subscribed to the New York Times for like a full year because the only way I could cancel was calling them on the phone. Like, I didn't want it, but I sort of used it begrudgingly just because I could.
So, how many subscriptions can you name that you have, Colby?
I got HBO Go. I got DigitalOcean. I got all my domains.
Oh, shit.
I technically have Spotify, but not really because I don't pay for it, but I suppose I work for it. What else? There's got to be more. I mean, I have electricity.
Oh, no. I'm talking
That's not a
software
subscription, though.
Come on.
I guess that's true.
What about you, Sean? Since it seems
Due by Friday. Friday.
Yeah.
I'm a $10 boy.
Whoa! Oh, you really did give them your fucking money.
I did. I got those fucking holiday gifts too, so
damn,
I'm fine.
Worth it. All of that. I think Hulu, Netflix, Dropbox. Like I said, I think I've got a couple, like two. I've got a Nest subscription and a Ring subscription. Adobe Creative Cloud. You guys generously cover the fees to host this show, but I cover the fees for the other show. So 2 websites, 2 hostings, Creative Cloud, all the domains, New York Times, Washington Post. My Patreon is bigger than $10 a month because I got a couple people on there I subscribe to. That's just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more than that.
Okay, I think I have mine.
Okay, go for it.
Spotify, Netflix domains, due by Friday, and then another Patreon, The Reads, 2 Twitch subscriptions, Nest, New York Times, Overcast, RoboKiller, Bear.
Oh yeah, Bear.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Oh wait, nope, Nintendo Online.
Oh, PlayStation Plus, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I forget about that one because it bills annually. Yeah.
It's so bad. Oh, VPN. That's an annual bill.
What VPN do you use?
I use Private Internet Access, PIA. They're pretty good. I've
been thinking about that because I used to get sort of free VPNs through my work for when I actually cared about my privacy and wasn't trying to do things illicit.
I pretty much
now I don't have that.
It's not an outrageous yearly subscription, but I pretty much just use it for when I let's just say borrow files that I don't own from places that don't have them legally. Amazon Prime, that's another one.
Oh
yeah, that's a good one.
This sucks.
God damn.
I feel
they got us. They got us all so good.
Well, this was my it's not going to be my 2019 prediction, but my backup prediction for 2019 is that 2019 is the year it officially becomes more expensive to cut the cord than it does to just keep your cable. Because I do think these subscriptions are only going to get worse because they're going to nickel and dime. Everybody's going to ask for $5 a month, and pretty soon it only takes doesn't take many of those to add up.
Nope. Maybe I'll just have less stuff.
I mean, yeah, that would be good. Although we talked on the show too this year that tech companies are starting to bundle, where you can get Hulu and Spotify for a bundle price. I think that might become more common.
Oh, totally.
And try and lower those costs.
Totally.
I mean, it's kind of what Amazon Prime does, right?
Right.
Alrighty. Well, that's my big story of the year. Colby, what was your big story of the year, you think? What had a big impact in tech in 2018?
I think the GDPR stuff, I guess that was a story before 2018, but it's happening now.
Big impact.
And I imagine certain companies are I don't know, continue to be racking up the bills. Yeah, I just think I don't have that much to say about it, honestly. I just think it was I don't know, we don't even know yet what the real consequence of that will be. And like we're seeing with the Facebook data leaks and stuff, I think we're just starting to see what'll happen when companies actually violate this thing. I think optimistically maybe it'll just be a disincentive for places to keep, hold on to data that they don't absolutely need. I think like if I were making those decisions, that would certainly be going through my head, right? Like, do we need these emails or do we need your address? Probably not. So let's not do it. It's a sort of a liability. So
yeah,
you really hit the nail on the head. That's something I would say maybe GDPR didn't have a big impact in terms of penalties this year, but I certainly think it had a big impact in terms of the rollout and how that affected businesses, the sort of confusion of it, the sort of impact it had. You're exactly right. My job partially is dealing with customer data and using it for marketing purposes, which is kind of part of the purpose of GDPR. And I had to change how we do the marketing at my company, and who we reach out to and what data we collect and our privacy policy and all these sorts of things, because of a law, halfway around the world. It's pretty, it definitely had a huge impact, I think, we remember that span of about a month where every company on the planet we've ever spoken to sent us an email, we're changing our privacy policy, and that we didn't read any of them.
Yeah.
I saw a sign at this convention outside of the entrance to where all the sponsors were that was a GDPR notice.
Really?
Yes. I think because they... So here's a funny thing. You go to these conferences, and this has been true for a while. Maybe even they did this at the Web 2.0 conference, if I remember correctly. They scan your badge to get your email. So, like, you go up to a vendor booth, and you're like, hey, I have a free t-shirt, but I got to scan your badge.
Totally.
And then it turns out you install this app, and then you you go to some other booth that was hidden in the back. It was called Lead Retrieval, and you get your emails.
Yeah,
but if you scan your own badge, you just get a bunch of hex gobbledygook. So there's some proprietary information or whatever, but maybe that's why, because they were technically collecting information. So they had a GDPR physical space.
I will say, at Strange Loop, I scanned my badge, and it was just my email and plain text. But it was just my email, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what was in this? I have my Strange Loop badge right here. I'll try that. I'll try that live on air.
Yeah. No, it's there are a bunch of different systems that do this, and you just rent them from whoever is putting on the conference to do the lead retrieval. But that's a big question we had, right? When people would come back from conferences.
Here's my email, everyone.
Very nice. Look at that.
Little CSV.
Yeah, it works.
I wonder what the middle comma was. That middle field has no information.
Twitter, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
The man with no middle name. Yeah. So no, definitely a big impact. Maybe I don't think I've gotten less marketing emails, so I don't know how effective that was, but
that's true.
But we talked about the Marriott leak. A large fine for them. Google and Facebook have already been sued under the laws. We'll see how that ends up next year. So I think we'll be seeing the EU is going to be getting a lot of money coming back their way, I think, in 2019.
I suspect so.
For sure. Dan, what was your big story of the year?
So this is probably a little bit of recency bias, but when I think on 2018 and I think about technology, I think a lot about the arc in the industry, starting with Facebook's miasma of problems and their inability to resolve anything to anyone's satisfaction, it seems. And then contrasted that with like Google making some pretty similar mistakes, but they have this sort of like internal activist employee body that from the China stuff, which just today there's a story how Google stopped developing their secret censored search engine in China, to the sexual harassment policy, to there's also big efforts now to improve the working conditions for like temporary employees or part-time employees or both, I guess, contractors. So like I think both of those threads of The corporations are not these monolithic things that are run by, it can be, but corporations don't have to be monolithic things run by the executives. And then contrast that with Facebook, where maybe there are a lot of people internally who are, speaking out and trying to change things for the better, but we don't hear about it, and it certainly hasn't seemed to be effective. So I think there's a lot of things tied up in that thread.
Yeah, I feel like particularly at Google, there were a bunch of things. It was pretty crazy.
They had that huge walkout.
Yep. Yeah, that was really impressive, I thought. Yeah, and like those companies are the big ones. They're huge. Like they have, even, I mean, never mind Amazon. They, not just software business folks, but like, I mean, how many employees does Google have? Like tens of thousands, right?
Tens of thousands.
Facebook, I think, is what, 30,000 maybe?
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I think I saw that number. I think I saw a tweet today that was something like Facebook has 30,000 employees and worth however $40 billion and can't implement a delete history button. But that's because they don't want to.
All right, how many exactly? How many employees do you think Facebook has?
I'll go with the 30,000.
Colby?
Oh, I'm gonna say it's 20.
According to this, as of December 2017, 25,105 people were employed by the social networking company. Now, how many for Google?
I'll double it. I'll go to 50.
Colby?
I'm gonna say 60.
85,000.
Prices rules.
How many for Apple?
I'm gonna say less than Google. I'm gonna go with like 60, 55, 60.
I'm gonna say more because they have the stores and stuff. I'm gonna say 100,000.
I think this counts the stores. 132,000, and then Amazon.
Oh, they've got
like 4. We've talked about this, like 300,000 or something.
Sean.
112,068.
613,000.
Wow.
How many does Walmart have?
1 billion.
Good question.
Because they are I believe, still them or McDonald's.
2.1 million.
All right, there you go.
Worldwide, 1.4 million in the United States.
That's crazy.
I said 1 billion. I meant 1 million. It's like 1 billion.
The world
but divided. I was like, I said it, and I was like, that would be like a seventh of the world. But I was like, we said it 6. Amazon. It's got to be more than Amazon, and I think an order of magnitude more than Amazon. And then I just couldn't figure out what was more than 100,000 but less than 1 billion.
Think about it this way, Colby. Walmart employs 2 Rhode Islands. Every man, woman, and child in Rhode Island.
Fair enough.
It's a lot of people.
John, did these stories pierce into your sphere at all, given that you're not employed directly by the tech industry?
No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
I think I steered clear.
So you just learned about it now from me.
No, I mean, I've obviously seen the stories go by, but there hasn't really been a big. I try, you know me, I'm not Mr. Controversial. I stay away from I'm more of the phones in new colors. Gee whiz,
Mm-hmm.
That's more my speed. I let you guys tackle the difficult stuff.
Got it.
All right. Very good. Well, I think 2018, a year that treated us somewhat well. We all did it. What did we do in 20? Colby, you and I both moved.
Boy, yeah, that's true. Let's see.
Colby, did you get a new job this year? Was that this year?
I started a new job this year. Well, I guess I got it this year too.
Dan, did you switch this year as well?
No,
Not
that
last
was the previous year.
I've been to New York so many times.
It's definitely a New York record for you, 2018.
Definitely.
Is there like a train frequent points program?
Yes,
Oh,
Amtrak
Sean.
Select.
Okay.
No,
I don't know
points
anything
away.
about trains, so
Colby knows a lot.
what kind
I'm
of
so
perks do
close,
you
but I
get?
kept the last trip I kept for a variety of reasons, kept having to switch off of the Acela and onto the regional trains, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I don't know what to do.
You could make a surprise last minute visit, Colby.
Well, I'm gonna take the train to Rhode Island, so I'm thinking I might just go first class on the Acela between Providence and Boston.
This is how they get you. This is how they.
You don't
what's
even
that?
get anything. They just send you a stupid card.
That card is great, though. I don't even know what the card looks like, but I do want it.
It's just very Amtrak-y. It's like the Amtrak colors. Allegedly, there's a lounge you can go to. I don't know.
Ooh.
Where?
I don't know. I've never seen an Amtrak lounge. Maybe Penn Station.
Yeah, I went to the Pacific Northwest twice. Actually, 3 times. 3 times. I have explored that area pretty well. From never going to explored it pretty well, I'll say. Yeah, that was pretty much what I did this year, except for work. So that's my 2018.
Oh, so we all did exciting stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you bought a house. That's crazy.
I bought a house. That's right. That was very
Do your
expensive.
lights still turn on at midnight or whatever?
Oh, it actually was really funny because when Matt and I were doing Up for Debate on the XFL, there's a famous thing about the XFL that the broadcast went out because they forgot to put gas in a generator. And literally, as we were talking about it, all the lights in my house went off. And it was very, I was just in darkness. It was awesome. Could not have done it better if I had tried.
That's pretty impressive.
It was very impressive.
Was it just the lights or like the power?
No, it was just the light. So everything else, I was just in like the glow of my monitor with all black behind me. It was
That's awesome.
it was not good. It was not good, but it was funny to look at. I mean, what's amazing is we did 40 episodes of this show.
That's true.
That's impressive.
Is that more? Which year did we do the most episodes?
That's a good question. I've never charted that.
Can we do a database query of some kind?
Do we have the data?
Well, that would have to be probably you or me that would do that.
I'll try.
Yeah, we definitely did more last year. We did, 45 last year, give or take, if I'm doing my math right? Yeah, something like that. We definitely did more last year. But
Are we going to review our predictions from last year?
oh, we definitely will, Dan. Let's keep chugging along here. We're sucking up time here. Before we get to predictions, let's go through the picks of the year. Let's wrap up 2018 before we talk about 2019. We've got a few picks here, some of our favorites. I will say before we get to our picks, I want to shout out to I think one of our top fans of 2018, Zach, in the Twitch chat. He says his pick of the year was Colby's pick of the mobile passport. That worked so well for him this year. Good call.
That was in the running for mine too.
Good call, Zach.
Yeah.
So we've got some stuff in here. I went first on the last round. Dan, what's your pick of the year here?
Oh yeah, so my pick of the year, it was close between 2 TV shows. The runner-up was Killing Eve. I think about Killing Eve all the time. It's just a beautifully done show. And there are like certain scenes, and I'm not thinking about the dialogue. I'm thinking about like just in silence what the scene looks like. So that was a runner-up, but the by far the thing I've talked about the most this year. Oh, Divinity: Original Sin 2 is definitely up there too. I played that game so much. But the thing I definitely talked about the most and probably got the most mileage out of was the Netflix documentary Wild Wild Country about the cult that lives in Oregon, which is fitting in with my Pacific Northwest theme of the year, and all the crazy, you couldn't make this stuff up if you tried stuff that went on. Have you both watched this at this point?
No.
What? The cult thing?
Wild Wild Country?
No.
Oh my goodness gracious. I didn't sell you hard enough on it?
Well, now that it's
I don't
pick of
even
the
remember
year-
talking about this.
Was this an episode when you weren't on, Colby?
I don't know, maybe. I remember we talked about like Scientology once. I remember that, but I don't remember talking because I've seen this on Netflix before. Like it was
No,
kept
you were
popping up
definitely
in
on
my
that episode.
recommended.
We talked about it on April 9th. Show
Oh my
198.
god. So,
Must have been wasted.
yeah, this...
Well, you had that week, Colby, you had picked Far Cry 5, so you were probably occupied.
I was just like chomping at the bit to get off the call and onto the PlayStation.
So since you probably will have forgotten any spoilers that I said, I won't say anything, but it is dramatic. It is like just out of this world, insane, the stuff that happened in this town of like 300 people in middle of nowhere, Oregon. But the most compelling part is that it is told from the perspective of who one might consider the villain. She is the primary driver of like being interviewed the most and sort of presenting the story. And you contrast the way that she's presenting herself in the interview and the recorded footage of her on the local news saying that she'll gun down everyone if she has to, and these insane things for a 28-year-old to be saying.
Wow.
At the time, yeah.
All right.
Really good.
All right.
Well, it sounds like an experience.
And it's one of those things where it comes in like the hour chunk, so you don't have to sit down for 3 hours to watch it. You can knock it out piecemeal.
Cool. All right. Available on Netflix right now. Wild Wild Country. Cool. Colby, what's your pick of the year?
My shoes. This is really my
Shoes.
pick of the last 3 years, but
You're welcome.
my barefoot shoes that Dan introduced me to, Vivo Barefoot. It's a dumb name. I hate it. I wish it was called anything else. But I've been wearing these shoes almost exclusively, or this like brand of shoes almost exclusively for, I don't know, since college probably. Like since senior year. What was that, 2013? It's been 5 years.
Wow.
They're just great for me. I have flat feet, so flat shoes are comfortable. And I just didn't know my feet could be more comfortable. And they make like a wide variety of shoes. They have like sneakers. They do like boots now that are, I think they have full winter boots. Like I've gotten their like sort of fall boots. I go like for regular, like standard winter boots. I can deal with the not flat-footed for being warm as fuck. But yeah, I don't know. It's great. I think it's great. They're a little expensive.
You can get what you pay for.
Not in
These
the
are cool.
grand scheme of shoes.
This is true.
They're not Payless, but they're not,
Designer.
Well, I feel like designer is one thing, but even just, and I hesitate to use the word luxury, but I feel like there's some step up from Adidas,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the one.
All right.
Sean, do you have 3 picks?
I have 5
4
picks,
picks?
Colby.
Oh,
I just
am I
couldn't-
not scrolled?
There was so much good stuff this year. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I will go through it quickly. I'm cheating. But there really was so much new stuff this year I really enjoyed. And I also felt like I really should have taken your tact, because I went with the approach of, I think I really have to have some sort of tech thing. And so my tech hardware pick is the Wisecam. And I don't remember if you guys remember when I brought this up on the show the first time, these little $20 security cameras. that you can buy, WYZE, Wisecam.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, I bought a lot of tech shit this year, both cheap and expensive. And for the amount of money paid to the value earned ratio, nothing has beaten this. It's not as good as a $200 Nest camera. I wouldn't compare them. For a $20 camera, this thing is excellent. The picture is really good. It works really well. I ended up getting a second one for my house. They're just phenomenal. They now have a $30 one that can pan, and it's got a little motor in it, so it can kind of pan around. These things are so cool, and for $20, it's an absolute no-brainer. They could charge $80 for this thing, and I would still consider it a good value. If you don't want to spend a boatload on a Nest or some other expensive security camera, try the Wisecam. Seriously, I think for $20, you genuinely cannot go wrong.
So what's the difference in the functionality between this and a Nest Cam? Because have you had a Nest Cam?
I do. I have one out back, actually.
Okay, yeah. So I'm curious what the difference is.
The picture isn't as good. So they call them both HD. The Nest clearly has better optics in it. You don't get as much. You get more. It's more limited cloud storage. But there's also no subscription fee. The night vision is it's just not as great. The notifications aren't, because Nest kind of has that smart notification stuff where if it knows it's a person, and this is just if there's any movement, so it's not as precise. But the picture quality is definitely good enough for what you're getting. I think also they're not outdoor. That's the other thing too, is they're not outdoor.
Well, the default Nest isn't either, or are the new Nests all outdoor?
No. Well, they have an indoor one and an outdoor one. But see, there's the live. No, I don't want to upgrade my firmware. But there's the live view of my garage. That's my car in my garage.
Oh,
and it looks fine.
That's the Batcave.
It gets the job done. So I think it just doesn't have a lot of fancy features. That's all.
So have you captured any interesting moments on your camera?
That's a good question.
I will say that there's my deck. That's the Nest Cam. So you can see the quality is definitely better. But there's a stray cat that hangs out in my backyard that I catch on my camera all the time.
Oh, weird.
A black cat that hangs out under my deck and on my deck and comes and goes as it pleases. I caught a rabbit out there today. So all the local wildlife comes by my house. Just very quickly, because I couldn't be good enough with the pick I had to add some more. So just very quickly, my things to watch picks. Absolutely check out Forever on Amazon Prime. I feel like this one was super, super under the radar this year with all the stuff that got released. Maya Rudolph, Fred Armisen. Dan, you still think about Killing Eve? I still think about Forever. Don't read anything about it. Go in blind.
Emily and I just finished Forever last night.
What'd you think?
It's crazy. I liked it a lot.
It was really something. It's really something to watch. And if you've got a 4K TV, it's gorgeous.
Ooh.
Give me the tweet pitch, the tweet level pitch.
But that's the thing. I literally, after episode 1, I can't tell you anything about it. Literally, it was very funny watching them go on the press tour for this show because they literally cannot say anything about it. Because if you know what happens going in, it's much more fun to just go in blind. Believe me.
All right, it's on my watch
And Colby,
list.
you'd back me up on that.
Yeah. There were a succession of things that I was not expecting.
Yeah. Just know it's Fred Armisen, it's Maya Rudolph. They're both very good in it. Maya Rudolph is insane in it, I would argue. She's excellent. Fred's very good, too. I also, if you have an HBO subscription and haven't watched Barry yet, you're also doing yourself a disservice. That is a great show with a lot of twists and jaw-dropping moments, but also some funny moments. And Bill Hader's excellent in that as well. So check that out. Very quickly, podcasts, Doughboys, Podcast The Ride, my 2 favorite podcasts of this year. Check those out as well. There you go. It was 5 picks, but it really only felt like 4.
Wait, what is Doughboys? What do you mean by audio? Like a band?
Podcasts. They're both podcasts.
Okay.
Doughboys is the podcast about chain restaurants. Very funny. And Podcast The Ride is the podcast about theme parks, which is also very funny.
Got it.
So check those out. Okay, let's move on to predictions. Last feature for this evening. Let's quickly recap what we predicted last year and how wrong we were. Dan, you just opted not to do one last year, which is very Dan, and I love it. That was because I re-listened.
I'm so sad.
It was blank in the spreadsheet, so I'm like, oh shit, we didn't write it down. So I went back and listened to the episode, and you're literally like, yeah, I'm not doing one this year. I said, okay.
Well, I clearly haven't learned that lesson for sure.
Well, hopefully we'll get one this year. My prediction was that was all about mobile payments. I thought 2018 was going to be the big year of mobile payments. Mobile payments, and I even put a number on it. I said would hit 50% of people with, compatible mobile phones would be using mobile payments. Would you guys like to know the actual number? I looked it up. You want to take a guess?
20%?
Okay. The actual number is about 25%. So, halfway there. I literally, since I got my 10R maybe 2 months ago, and I never even set up Apple Pay on it.
Whoa.
That's how little I used it. I didn't even notice. I didn't even realize it. I realized it the other day, but I haven't missed it.
Sean, I have a question for you.
Okay, Dan.
How often do you go to an establishment that uses the Square point of sale as their way of transacting credit cards? You know what I'm talking about when I say Square point of sale?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I would say 0.5 times a month.
Yeah, okay. For me, it can be sometimes 2 times a day. And all those places I can use Apple Pay at. The cab, I can use Apple Pay at. Increasingly, vending machines, I've been noticing, you can use Apple Pay at.
But I will say, when I do go to non-large retail establishments, so smaller businesses or local shop type places, which I'm sure is where you mostly use Square, I pay in cash because I'm a Mennonite.
Oh, God.
Because I'm an Amish man, and I do, and I pay, and I like cash. So,
well, I'm sure those businesses appreciate that extra 2% or whatever.
Yep. So but I know I hear you, Dan. I don't disagree. That's not the future, but where you live, maybe Brooklyn. Hey, I'm just saying a little more. Out here in
hey, I'm
the
walking
middle of
here.
I'm walking. Real New Yorker, Dan Miller. But out here in the middle of nowhere, we don't quite have it yet.
I think it's great for. Just because, often you can get away with having forgotten your wallet or your wallet being in an inconvenient pocket of your bag or something.
Do you know about this, Colby?
What?
Forgetting your wallet?
Yeah, I've done it once or twice. Usually it's more like my wallet's in the bottom of my bag and I don't want to dig it out.
Sure.
Doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes. I do. I just got one of the credit cards that has the NFC in it, and that's very nice.
You can get those here?
I got one. It's awesome. It's like Apple Pay, but it's even faster.
Yeah, because you don't have to verify your identity.
Right. There's no security.
Yep. I've only ever used my Apple Watch once to pay for something in the entire time I've owned it.
I think I've only used mine once, too, and it was with Dan, and he made me do it.
He made me do it.
Where was that?
I'm pretty sure it was in a cab.
Makes sense.
That was also Apple Pay itself, but
now, Colby, you predicted that 2018 would be the year of big tech wars, as you wrote in the spreadsheet. That these large tech conglomerates would, because I think at the end of last year was when Amazon was really fighting against Google, right? They pulled YouTube off of the Amazon Echo devices, and they weren't selling Google's products on Amazon, and they were having a big fight back and forth. And you said 2018 was when the tech battles really get rolling. How do you feel about that prediction a year later?
I don't. It kind of did. It kind of didn't. Mostly not, though. I can't think of anything else besides, after the beginning of the year where anyone did. Like it was almost like the opposite. Like
Yeah.
Amazon Prime is on the Apple TV now, and like
Well, Amazon Music's coming to the Echo. We talked about that last week.
Apple Music, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been there for a while, though.
That's true. That's true.
So, but there was a story yesterday. I think you might be more right than you think, perhaps. At least in New York, with Amazon's controversial new headquarters in Queens, Google, once someone pointed this out to me, they were like, you can tell, not that a company can pay for a story in the New York Times, but they can trade in some cachet. They can call in favors and get a story in the New York Times. There was such a story in the New York Times today for Google about, like, hey, Google, they're quietly opening up 2 more buildings and like $1 billion investment here in New York, but they didn't ask for any tax breaks. They're getting some, but they didn't ask for any. And look, they're not talking about it. It's like, listen, there's no way that Google PR was not involved in this story, but It's clearly a shot at Amazon. And I guarantee you that Google PR was like, hey, look, check out this. Here's a tip. Look what here's some real estate records we just filed with the city. What do you think about them apples?
The really funny thing is, I am 99% sure I read a story like 4 or 5 months ago about that building project. Like it wasn't really announced now. Like they definitely talked about this project many, many months ago, and are conveniently resurfacing it now as Amazon's getting some flack. So well done on their PR group. I'm sure they're very well paid.
And I think that, Amazon versus Google, maybe in New York, maybe not in the large. I think Apple and Facebook are kind of natural enemies now. And you've seen Tim Cook take some pot shots on his congressional hearings.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think Netflix is just about everybody's enemy at this point as everyone tries to get into the streaming game.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, well, let's look at our predictions for this coming year, 2019. A lot of future ahead of us, some good, some bad. We've got some predictions here. Dan, let's have you go first. What do you think is going to be the prediction for 2019?
Okay, so mine's a gaming tech prediction. I think with the Switch has been, like we've seen, pretty successful, generally. Certainly more successful than the last Nintendo console, the Wii U. But given like the sales numbers that we've seen for the new Smash game, and even just this year, the quality of stuff that's being ported over, I think that this Christmas season there are going to be even more Switches sold than there were last year, and then that'll be the tipping point going into next year and the year after for developers to be like, you know what, the next Red Dead Redemption, it does come out on the Switch, because all these kids who want to get a Switch for Pokemon and for Minecraft and for Fortnite, like you can play Minecraft and Fortnite on a handheld, and you can play Breath of the Wild, and you can play Smash, and you can play Pokemon. There's a new Pokemon game coming out in this next year. It's going to be nuts. And I think that all the kids who are like really into Fortnite, and that audience is only growing. If you're a parent, what are you going to get them? A PS4? A gaming computer?
Well,
get them a Switch.
The thing is, I think most of those kids probably already own an Xbox or a PlayStation. Now is the right time for Switch to take off because we're in the middle of a console cycle. So everyone who already wanted a console already has it. You know, you guys already own consoles, so you're not going to go buy another PlayStation.
Right, but every day, there's a kid who has never owned Fortnite and really wants it and is going to get it. Right? They weren't, their parents maybe didn't think they were ready a year ago.
Yeah.
And that's going to be true next year and the year after.
Or they'll want whatever the next Fortnite is.
Right. But now I think the Switch has like officially, if you just have one really popular title, then that's kind of breaking even maybe. But once you start to get a couple big first-party ones, I think that's when you start to cash in all the other stuff. So that's my prediction, is that here's my prediction. Games that are announced in 2018 will be released on PS4, Xbox, and Switch, unless they are a console exclusive.
I would say that's a big prediction. I don't think it's a bad one, but I think it's a big one.
Because games coming out now were, announced 2 or 3 years ago, probably. Right. But I think games announced this year will,
Wow.
You'd be leaving money on the table.
I was actually kind of surprised, Dan, you didn't name 2018 as the year of the Switch.
I don't think it's there yet, but I think in the past couple of weeks, like since Smash came out, this is not just my bubble. Like even the non-Smash people I follow on Twitter, whether they're tech related or music related, have all been talking about this game. I'm sure it's sold. It's driven a lot of console sales. I've seen people playing it. I saw multiple people from my seat on both the plane to Seattle and back playing it. I've seen people playing on the subway. And that'll die down a little bit, but the brilliant thing is it's not a game where you're like, all right, I beat the game. Same thing with Fortnite. So I think 2018 you could make the argument, but I don't think that'll be anything compared to 2019.
Yeah, I put it this way: my sister, who has never owned a console in her life ever, got a Switch for Christmas, got it early, and is loving it. So
I think. It's
going
to be like the Wii, but with good games. Like the problem with Wii is that people who actually like video games, for the most part, the Wii didn't have a lot of staying power with those people.
The Wii was gimmicky. That's what it was. The gimmick got old fast. The Switch isn't a gimmick. It's an actual good video game playing device.
Right, and it's good on the TV or in your hand.
Yeah.
Finally.
That's interesting.
We're finally there. I remember on this show we were talking about wow, can they do it this time? It's kind of just like the Wii U, but take two.
Yep.
But they did.
Well, we'll see. We'll come back next year, see how right you were. I'll go next, and we'll have Colby take us out. I think a lot of bad things happened in 2018. Okay, I think you guys are probably aware.
We've had worse years.
We've had better years.
That's true too.
And obviously we talked about it a little bit, but one of the big things that happened was privacy issues. We talked about GDPR. We talked about all these companies. I got a notice on Facebook today letting me know that I was caught up in that bug where it would share private photos and photos you went to post but didn't actually post, but they saved anyway and could have leaked to developers on Facebook, which is upsetting.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I think as these things pile up each year, Cambridge Analytica and all the shady shit Facebook is doing, along with these other companies, the Google Plus bug that killed Google Plus, I think 2019 is the year where people start being more vigilant about how they use social networking and their privacy. I think it's the year people become more suspicious. I think people have taken it for granted too long. I'm swinging for the fences with this prediction. I don't know if it'll actually happen. We may look back and say nobody cared, but I just think I've never cared. I've never been a big privacy settings guy. I care now, and I think more and more people are going to go out of their way to understand. I get questions from my mom and people like that about privacy settings. So I think it's going to start to permeate culture more, and as these leaks continue to happen, people will take data security and privacy more seriously, which is a good thing. So I'm hoping that's a positive aspect of 2019.
Indeed. Yeah, that's true. I wasn't thinking about that, but Sean, you've been a stark I don't give a fuck
No, I haven't.
Person in the past on this topic.
And I'm still not a big minute settings guy. I'm not going to switch to encrypted email, but I do pay more attention to the news about what's going on. I do pay more attention of, I shouldn't use the same password for everything. Oh, does this website really, for example, I had an issue with my 10R. I had to reset not all the data, but just the settings, which means I had to go through and reauthorize notifications and location access. And I'm like, wait, why am I giving all these apps access to my location? I never ever have thought about that before. But I'm like, they don't need always, it's only when I'm using the app. It's things like that. I had never thought about that before. And all of a sudden now I'm just more suspicious, which you could argue is a negative, but I think in this case is a bit of a positive. So it certainly has affected me.
Indeed. It's very inspirational.
Go out, folks. Check your settings.
Yeah. I think I mentioned last week this was a my parents were talking about this a while back.
Yeah.
And that's why this year is Computer Security Christmas.
My mother just got scammed on Etsy, sadly.
What?
Got taken for a ride, yes. And I had to walk her through the process of how you get your money back and how you alert the company. And, oh, my God, was my credit card information stolen? Oh, my God, what's going to happen? And I had to explain it all to her. But it's a scary world out there, These things happen. So an informed consumer is a good consumer.
Word.
Colby, you've got the last prediction. What's going to happen in 2019?
I feel like I might be totally stealing this from Dan or someone at some point, but I think wireless iPhones, no chargers. Is that was you? Did you say that? You said that this year, right?
Apparently not. Maybe I even said it the year before.
You might have that might go all the way back to 20, because I have the predictions for the last couple of years. That might go all the way to 2015.
Because I think I said it when it must have been when the iPhone 7 came out, and it only had the Lightning port.
Mm-hmm.
I think and my prediction was sort of for what would have been the iPhone 10 was to be. But I'm on board with this, Colby. I love this vision. Keep going.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, explain it.
Yeah, well, so I think we got wireless charging iPhones, and then we got the 10s now. Sorry, roll it back. So the regular 10 and the 8s were like the new fancy phone release. And then we just did our S cycle. So next year they're going to have to do something crazy. And what's the craziest thing that you could do that Apple would love to do? Get rid of another hole in the phone.
Okay. Can I fight back against my own desire?
Yeah.
So this trip, it was my first, exception to my phone, all USB-C device trip. My laptop was USB-C, my iPad was USB-C, my Nintendo Switch was USB-C, except for this frickin' phone. So I would rather, I want the all wireless feature, don't get me wrong, but part of me is also like, I wish it was just USB-C, because if it does become wireless, none of my other shit charges wirelessly, so I'll have to get a wireless charger, and I'm this close to just bringing the one charger, or just like it's a thing that plugs in the wall, gives you 4 female USB-C ports. That's all I need. But I fear, but one way or the other, I will never get there, because I don't see a world where the iPhone has USB-C charging next year. Do either of you see that?
I think that's more likely than an all-wireless phone.
Really?
Not to...
But here's my point. It's like, why would they... So they changed to USB-C, right? Is that like... Sean, so here's my question. When do you think that they would switch to all-wireless? Is it next 5 years? Is it 10 years from now?
I think it's in the next 1 to 2 years. I think Colby makes a fair point that the next cycle is a full number. It's the 11. It's whatever they end up calling it.
I thought you were saying that it would be more likely that the next iPhone has USB-C than wireless.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think we could see USB-C in an iPhone next year.
Oh no, what I'm asking you is then when is it only wireless?
Oh, never. I've stated this position on the show before.
Never.
I don't think it ever goes there, because I just think... Okay, I guess I shouldn't say that, because 20 years ago we didn't know an iPhone existed. So who the fuck am I to say? But I will say, I just think that we use the current Lightning jack for more than just headphones and charging. It's used for all kinds of accessories and other data transfer stuff that isn't easily replaced today with wireless in the way simply just AirPods and a wireless charger replace sound and charging. So I think that's why I think going to USB-C makes more sense, because at least you're on a more standard connector. They've been fighting lawsuits in Europe over Lightning for years because the EU wants them to standardize it. And I think the iPad was just a test to bring that technology to the phone. So I think that's more likely, but I'm with you, Colby. I think that's a great goal for next year. Maybe that's like the premium model. doesn't have any ports or something, and that's kind of their gimmick. Oh my God, it's the thinnest phone ever made because we didn't have to put a port in it. That I could see. That seems plausible. But I think overall a switch to USB-C, yeah, I could definitely see that next year. But also, I'm very wrong on predictions every single time. So
I hope you're right, Colby.
I think it would be crazy.
Sean's more right. But
maybe they also have some crazy wireless technology that's going to come out next year. We'll have that, like wireless charging all the time. It's just charging in your pocket.
2.
Yeah, lasers.
This does seem like the kind of thing Samsung would do first, though, don't you think?
That's true.
Because they always do
That's
the crazy
true.
shit. Because they're going to have the foldable phone next year.
But they didn't do the crazy shit when, like, they didn't remove the headphone jack first or put a notch in first. They do the crazy shit when it offers no downside. No, I don't think so.
I thought they did the notch first.
I don't think so.
Oh boy, I don't even know how to Google that. So I'll go with
Who
you, Dan.
did the notch first?
Where'd the notch
First
come from?
Android notch phone. That's what I'm gonna Google.
I mean, they definitely did.
What was the
wireless.
first phone with a notch? The answer may surprise you.
Oh, let me guess. It's the Palm Trio from some insane old.
It was the Sharp Aquos S2.
I remember that phone.
It had a little dude.
I think we talked about that on a CES episode. Which, by the way, folks, teaser: when we come back in January, we'll have full CES coverage. All the dumb, stupid gadgets that we'll never buy.
Oh yeah.
Or might not even ever be released.
Well, LG already teased they're doing a Keurig-like device for brewing beer. So get excited for that. We've got to start wrapping up here, guys, because we're already over the hour mark.
Okay,
guys,
fine.
what a great year we've had. 2018. Good job.
Bravo.
All around. Well done. Well done. Another year in the books.
Could have been worse.
We're heading 2019, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Will be June will be our 5-year anniversary. Is that right, or 6?
Oh my gosh.
I think 5. Let's call it 5.
We'll call it 5. That's excellent. We'll hit show 250 this year. We're really going places. This is very exciting.
Yeah, we're going somewhere at some speed.
Straight to hell. All right. Well, thanks, folks, for joining us. That wraps up 2018. We're going to be off for a couple weeks for the holiday, but we'll be back in early January. As I mentioned, full CES coverage and all the tech news you've come to expect from us. Our website, of course, is don'tpanic.io. All our episodes are there. The audio, the video, and the pics will be there as well. So if you don't remember them, you can click on them there. Also, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Overcast. You can now get us on Spotify, which is very exciting, Stitcher, wherever, and video on YouTube as well. And, of course, you can follow us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter, and don'tpanicshow@gmail.com is the email to reach out to us. I will very quickly tease, because we are out of time, over at Up for Debate, at upfordebate.tv, we just wrapped up the 6-part XFL saga. It was an absolute blast. 6 episodes telling you everything you ever wanted to know about a defunct football league that stopped existing 17 years ago. So you're going to want to listen to that. And this week's episode, we're doing, finally, it's been years, people have been asking, our deep dive on Christmas. And Matt doesn't even know this gimmick yet, but he doesn't listen to the show, so he won't know. But we had a pre-show argument about eggnog. Matt said he loved it, and I said I hated it. But I realized I haven't tried eggnog in well over a decade. So I bought some eggnog, and I'm going to try it live on air. Yep, I'm going to try. I haven't opened it yet. And so on the show...
you need to make the eggnog.
No, come on. Stop that. Way too
That's what we got to do for Sean's New Year's party.
I'll start with the store-bought stuff and work my way up.
I'm so tempted to go to your party just to make you some eggnog.
Oh, that's very sweet, but one step at a time. One step at a time. But tune in at upfordebate.tv or wherever you get podcasts to hear my thoughts on eggnog, which no one wants. That's going to wrap us up here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight and all throughout the year. Such a blast, guys. On behalf of Dan and Colby, I am Sean. We will see you next time in 2019 for more tech news and good times on more Don't Panic.